30 minutes before this.
All right, so you're following your
I
synchronicity?
just jumped in my car and followed my synchronicity.
All right,
And
then
now-
that's how you got here.
And I'm standing here in front
Yes,
of you.
you are.
So I'm in the process, or I have been in the process, of letting go
Yes.
of everything that is familiar to me.
Everything?
Well, almost.
All right.
And I just let go of a 25-year career.
Oh, all right, congratulations.
Yeah.
Are you in a position to know that whatever it is you act on that is representative of your passion can support you in life?
Yes.
All right.
I definitely live in full faith with that.
It's not about faith, really. I understand what you mean by that, but it's simply about understanding how things work. Yes?
I feel
it's
like
knowledge. It's knowingness. It's beyond faith. It's knowingness. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
so now what?
Yeah, now what?
Well, what do you want to do? What excites you more than anything else at this particular moment?
Well, that's what I've been following, and that's how I ended up here.
All right. All right. Then you will keep doing that, we assume?
Yes.
All right. So what else do you need to discuss?
Well, some things that have been happening have been kind of strange. During meditations recently, I keep hearing,
Yes. Well, strange is not necessarily negative, yes?
no, it's neutral until it's defined. I don't need strange. But I keep hearing Athena. I am Athena.
All right.
I am Athena over and over.
All right. Well, you're connecting to an archetypal level of collective consciousness that somehow reflects to you some of the themes of your frequency, some of the themes of your life. So if you look up what the symbolism is of that archetypal representation of the collective consciousness, it may give you some insight as to why you are plugging into that particular frequency and downloading information from it to help you on your path.
Okay.
Yes?
I've also been weirdly talking in tongues, which is kind of unusual. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. It just keeps coming through.
That's all right. You are simply tapping into the fact that you are connected to many different kinds of levels of dimensions and realities and expressions of consciousness and intelligence. And you're sorting things out within yourself as to where you want to land in terms of how best to express your true self. That's usually what that's for. It's like going here, there, don't really know, haven't really crystallized what I'm saying, who I am, how I want to express myself. So it comes out in all these different ways until you find your language. And that means your language in the biggest sense, the way you need to communicate to be more who you are. That's usually what that process is for.
So to serve the entirety of the whole,
Yes. You have to just be yourself.
I have to fully express myself clearly
Yes.
as my true self.
Yes.
And then that is my absolute service to the entirety of the whole.
Absolutely, because how can you help anyone if you're not yourself?
Of course.
Therefore, as I said earlier, you become the puzzle piece you actually truly are, and then you automatically fit in the big picture. And that's what supports the big picture and allows you to experience how the big picture supports you as the piece of the big picture. It works in both directions. It's this and that. It's a whole system. It's a whole idea. Yes?
Yes, as nature intended. Yes. As my nature intended.
You are nature.
Yes. Yeah.
You are God. You are all that is. You are a piece of it. There is nothing but God to make anything from. There is nothing but all that is. Everything is a reflection of all that is. It is all that is. But it allows you to be the you are as a reflection of all that is. You are all that is experiencing itself as a piece of itself. You are the eyes of God, all of you, all of us, everything. Every experience is a reflection of all that is, God, Goddess, all that is of itself, because there's nothing else but the one.
Yes.
Yes? So being yourself more fully allows, in a sense, if you want to put this poetically, God to see more clearly through your eyes, to experience who it is as you. This is a beautiful dance. Yes?
It is. Full resonance.
It is
with
the
that.
dance of creation. Does this help?
It does. Thank you. Is there anything else that I should know that you'd like to share with me right
If there was, I would have shared it.
now? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
So being Father's Day, I guess I want to ask a father-related question.
All right, happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Father to be. So my wife and I are expecting a son.
All right.
And the first question I have is related to at what point does consciousness actually enter the baby while it's in the womb?
Well, the way you're asking that question isn't exactly accurate.
Okay.
Because remember, everything is made of consciousness, no matter what it is. I understand what you're asking, but the idea is more, you're asking, when does that particular consciousness focus itself in such a way that it considers itself to be expressing its intelligence in a physical way, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
Well, it comes and goes in a sense. It dips its toe in, it feels things out, it may recede, it may come back, it goes back and forth quite often. In fact, even after birth, the consciousness of a young child can kind of expand and contract, expand to spirit, contract to physicality, expand to spirit, contract to physicality. You say come and go, come and go. It's not really coming and going. It's just expanding its focus, narrowing its focus, expanding its focus, narrowing its focus. This can happen even for the first 3 or 4 years of life. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're asking the question, when is it capable of expressing consciousness through the actual physical form in a way that you understand as the expression of intelligence? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
49 days.
Wow. Early on.
Yes.
So that then along that
Because
line,
at that point, the structures then exist within the embryo that allows for the expression of consciousness in the way you understand it, in the way that it needs to express itself as a physical being. Then it's capable of actually expressing the idea of awareness in physical terms. Until that time, there is no structure in the embryonic brain that allows that expression to actually happen in physical terms. But it takes 49 days for that structure to be formed. Does that make sense?
yes, it does.
All right.
So while the baby's been developing, what are ways that we can support and nurture the growth of the child, both, well, in all ways, spiritually, energetically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, again, obviously, first and foremost, by being your true selves, because then the child is being born to parents that are willing to be their true selves, which then act as living examples for the child and how they can be their true selves as well. That's first and foremost, yes?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Okay.
So then the rest is up to your own imagination. When you are more your true self, you will have the inspirations and the ideas of what to do that would benefit all of you as a family. Yes?
Yes.
When the child then comes into physical reality, as we have said previously, then it comes into the idea of quote unquote educating the child, helping them, guiding them, acclimating them to the concepts of physical reality and your societies specifically. Then it's about making sure that you teach them that they are self-empowered beings, as powerful as they need to be to manifest whatever they truly need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in order to do so. Allowing them to find what their passion in life is, and anything that you believe is important for them to understand about physical reality, as the parents, as the teachers, creating with your imaginations a safe space in which they can explore consequences of choices, so that when they then finally get out into the world, they will understand that their consequences do exist for the choices that they make, and they will then make more constructive choices because you've given them the opportunity to practice understanding the connections between the choices they make and the consequences that follow in physical terms. Also, whatever else that you believe they need to know to get along in your world, it would be best again to explore what it is that excites them the most, and then whatever you believe they really need to learn, adapt the lesson to their excitement. Don't try to shove their excitement into the lesson. Do you understand?
Yeah.
By creating interactive scenarios that seem very real for them, you will see very clearly what path they choose to follow. Children who then are allowed to adapt the lessons to their excitement will be eager to learn because you're teaching them how to learn in a way that aligns with who they truly are and uses their talents, their specific gifts, bringing them to bear to absorb information. The bottom line, in a sense, about the idea of teaching information that you believe is important to teach and allowing them to retain that information is telling them stories. Story structure is the way all of you absorb information the best and retain it for the longest. That's why stories have existed on your planet for thousands upon thousands of years. Story structure is not something that you invented. Story structure is something you discovered within your consciousness, within your psyche. It's a specific pattern of consciousness and self-reflectivity that when you tell a story in a certain way with a certain kind of information that hits those story structure points, it resonates within you. It strikes a chord within you. And that allows the information to stick because they're willing to absorb it because you've hit that chord. So telling stories is very important. So tell stories that are stories of empowerment. Stories can contain the idea of what you call conflict, or at least the idea of what's going on between positive and negative belief systems, as long as they also contain the idea of transforming those things from negative to positive. Then the child will retain a very powerful instruction of how to do that in life.
Great.
That's what we would suggest to you.
Okay.
Does this help?
Yes, definitely. From fifth density, how do you look at and view the role of fathership or fatherhood?
Well, I'm not in fifth densities.
Oh, I thought you were.
We are transitioning.
Transitioning too.
But remember that fifth density is synonymous with what you call spirit.
Right.
Therefore, in that sense, it's not quite the same kind of an experience in non-physical reality as it is in physical reality, except the basic premise that it's about, in a sense, creating what I call that space, that provision of space in which people can grow and learn and become themselves. That can translate in physical terms. You usually think, I know this is changing and it's supposed to change and become more balanced, but I know that classically you usually look at the idea of the masculine energy as the provider. You understand?
Right.
Now, all of you have that energy. All of you have the masculine, all of you have the feminine. It's about finding the balance within and empowering everyone in an equal way. But the idea of that energy in general, that archetypal energy, is to provide that space in which something can then be nurtured by the feminine energy, so it gets both of those energies, the provider and the nurturer, and creates that safe, balanced space in which the child can grow in strength and balance and contain both of those energies and expressions of those energies themselves. So that's the spiritual view of the energy.
Yeah, that's great.
Does that help?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd like to breach one more topic, if I may.
Yes.
So I work with a lot of people that have had head injuries,
Oh, how
concussions.
exciting.
Not for them.
You don't know that for a fact.
You're right. You're right. It's very challenging. But one thing that I find is people who have had concussions, they tend to hit their heads a lot, and they just attract bumping their head into headboards and someone else's head and
Yes.
corners way more than anyone else would.
They're trying to get something through to themselves that they're not getting. They are stubbornly refusing to pay attention, so they're beating their heads against the wall over and over again until they get the point, till they let it in.
But it's
Now, that's not the case all the time.
Okay.
Understand, I'm giving you a generalization.
Right.
You have to take everything like this on a case-by-case, person-by-person basis to know what the reason is that they may specifically be doing that. Nevertheless, in general, on average, it's usually a representation that someone is refusing to pay attention. They're afraid to pay attention of something that they really need to pay attention to, and therefore they're actually trying to disorient themselves, realign their perspective. They're trying to, in a sense, beat the idea into themselves and pay attention to something that they are refusing and resisting to pay attention to, in general. So if you can figure out what that is with them and work with them that way and get them to really investigate some of their fear-based beliefs, you may actually help alleviate that behavior.
Right, that repetitive head banging.
Yes.
Okay.
What is it you're trying to get through your thick skull? To put it that way.
Right.
What is it you're trying to get here? What are you afraid to get? That's usually the basis of it. What are you afraid will happen if you suddenly became your true being?
Right. Right.
It's that resistance that usually causes it to get that extreme because you're trying to get your own attention.
Mm-hmm.
Again, generally.
Right. Right.
Does this help?
Yes, with healing head injuries, though, and this
That's another subject.
no, not so much. I'm not going to go into
Yes.
healing them so much, but I've heard you talk about healing modalities and
Yes.
healers, and that
Yes.
it's never actually the modality or the healer or the medicine that actually heals.
No, the
Rather-
person heals themselves by matching the vibration the healer or medicine is giving off that represents the healed state. If the person decides to align with that particular frequency representing the healed state, they will heal themselves.
So then why is it with the modality that I use, head injuries tend to respond, very quickly? What is it about their attraction to this modality that allows them to align with that frequency?
It's the permission slip that works best for some of their belief systems. Yes?
Okay.
Or doesn't.
Yeah.
Again, many people will come to a healer to prove they can't be healed. Therefore, you've given them what they asked for. All you need to do is do your job. It's none of your business what they do with what you give them. That's not your job. Your job is to provide the vibration that represents the opportunity to heal themselves. What they do with that, none of your business.
Right.
Yes?
Great. Thank you
don't
very much.
measure your success by how many people are willing to heal themselves. You measure your success by being yourself as best as you possibly can, knowing there must be a reason they came to you, even if it's not the reason that they think or you think. But they will get something out of it somewhere down the line. Remember, everyone is an infinite, eternal being. What's your hurry?
Great. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Allowing you more efficacy, more ability to stay in the moment along your path, on your journey, and allow you to have a clearer understanding of how your higher mind, your passion, and synchronicity work together to allow you to take the steps necessary for you to navigate through the different parallel versions of Earth that are more and more reflective of the version that you prefer to experience, or the versions, more precisely, that you prefer to continue to experience as you shift moment to moment to moment. The primary point of this particular transmission and title is really about learning to relax into the moment, of letting go of any insistence on the concept of a goal that you're attempting to achieve, a place you're attempting to get to, some destination out in the so-called future. Not that you will not experience the idea of outcomes and goals and destinations, but these things are experienced along the way. In other words, please remember this. Your journey, no matter how you experience it, whether in physical reality, whether in non-physical reality, your journey never ends. There is no ultimate place you are attempting to get to. If you understand that everything that's important is happening right now, nothing more important will ever happen, as you say, in the future. It will just be a different thing, equally important to whatever's going on right now. You can begin to relax into the now, into the moment, understanding that as your passions are presented to you, in terms of whatever form they come in, by synchronicity, that these experiences the willingness to act on the things that contain more passion, more excitement, more curiosity, more attractiveness, are simply in the moment, there in that form to get you to take an action that represents the step you need to take at that moment. As we have said before, just because your excitement presents itself in a certain way, in a certain format, doesn't mean that that format always has to come to fruition. Sometimes it might, but many times it might not. At least not in the sense that that will be the next thing that manifests. Again, it may, but it may not. So the idea is to start really looking, start really connecting to the things that present themselves to you as opportunities to act on that are representative of your passion, looking at them only as a step along the way on your journey. Nothing in that sense is the ultimate goal. The only thing that is truly, if you want to call it a goal, the ultimate goal, is being yourself. And it is the synchronicity and the passion and the higher mind that allows you at every moment to be yourself by giving those things to act on that represent your true vibration, the fullness of your being. As you step from stepping stone to stepping stone on the journey, on the path that you are, it's very important to really pay attention to what is happening right here and right now in every single one of those moments, in every single one of those stepping stones, and really savor it for what it is right here, right now, as simply a step along the way, no matter how exciting it may be. Never assume, never insist that that particular presentation, that particular experience has to be an ultimate thing, has to unfold in a certain way. It is nothing more than a step on the journey of you being yourself, which is really the entire point of the experience. Yes, they're presented to you in certain ways that are reflective of the personality you have created yourself to be, of the way in which you designed, so to speak, your theme to be this person, this personality, this reflection, this aspect of all that is. Yes, of course it is. And that can make it seem as if this personality must achieve this thing in this particular way by this kind of time, or that something has gone wrong. But this exercise, this idea, and the meditation that will follow in this transmission this day is all about really relaxing off of that idea and really just allowing it to flow through you in the moment, no matter how it comes to you, no matter how exciting, how passionate you may be about something, not to lose the passion, but not to rigidize it, not to structurize it in a way that insists that it must unfold in a certain way, because you really don't know, you really do not know exactly why it came to you in the way that it did. And this is why we are explaining to you that no matter how it appears, no matter how much energy might seem to be behind it, no matter how much synchronicity there may appear to be, it is simply a step along the way on your journey of being yourself, which is really the only goal. Everything else is an expression of that goal, but are not the goals themselves. The idea of coming to fruition in anything that excites you is all well and good, and many times it will happen. But even coming to fruition in a particular way that the passion may have presented itself to you is not the ultimate goal. It is just another step along the way, another part of the overall experience of your unending journey of being yourself, of discovering yourself from a new point of view, of just existing in the moment, savoring the moment, experiencing the moment, being you as fully as you can in every moment with everything that's presented to you, no matter how it looks. Whether you prefer it or not, it's there for a reason. Use the moment. Use it up fully. Dive into it. Stay with it. Don't ignore it. Don't attempt to get beyond it. Don't rush forward trying to get somewhere else. This moment, whatever is happening in it, is the key to really experiencing the fullness of your journey, so that you are really validating and savoring every single stepping stone, every single one. For if you're not using it fully, then it's not there to support you to get to the next stepping stone. You create gaps that you cannot get past if you don't really fully appreciate what's going on at this particular moment on your journey of being you. It's very important for you to focus on the idea of being you. You may not always know what that means, but you will find out. You will discover it if you just relax into the understanding that everything that comes to you is simply just another step along the way. It's not an ultimate goal that needs to be achieved. It's not a place you have to hurry to get to. There is no clock. You're not running out of time for anything that's relevant in your life. If you stay in the moment and just experience everything that comes as another step along the journey of being you, then everything will unfold in perfect timing, and you can feel yourself going with the flow of your truth, sailing along smoothly as you go from step to step to step, knowing that every step is just another step along the way of the journey of being who you truly are. So begin to breathe and relax into this idea that there's nothing more important than the now moment, because it is the now moment and in the now moment that you will discover by your interactions with what's happening at that moment who you truly are. And that's the most important thing you can do, to really allow yourself to move through your journey, to be your journey, and know yourself more deeply, more fully, more truly, and feel the fulfillment of the reflection of all that is and all the potential within you that will unfold, yes, over time, because that's the focus you have. But you will feel the fulfillment as you go, that every single moment has been savored to its maximum, so that you know you have left nothing out, left nothing behind, ignored nothing, that you've paid attention to everything that's there, and truly absorbed everything that has been brought to you at that moment. Because there is nothing irrelevant in this moment. There's nothing irrelevant in this moment. And there's nothing irrelevant in this moment. Every single thing is the orchestration you have agreed to participate in. When we take you through the meditation, we will continue the idea of how to breathe in a more relaxed way into every moment, so that you truly begin to experience your passion, things you do prefer, things you don't prefer, interactions with others, reflections that you may get through synchronicity, everything that comes your way, messages from the higher mind, messages from spirit guides. Whatever it is that's happening, you'll be able to experience it simply more and more and more as another beautiful, orchestrated step along the way of the journey that you are.